we just saw the main event, so I kind of want to get into that. And my main takeaway, the whole night was excellent. I think I've made that point clear already. But the whole night really really enjoyable, and I had a blast watching this entire card. The main thing from me that I kind of took away just from in ring whatever, I forgot, or maybe didn't even realize how much I missed all those guys being together. You know, because the breakup was so fantastic. And then culminating in Cody finishing his story in the most just wrestling climax way ever, with all the different run-ins and everything like that at WrestleMania. Because the breakup and everything was so good and everyone did so well on their own, you forget how well it all worked together. And I admittedly wasn't necessarily anticipating that with this group. Like, I remember when the Shield kind of broke up and then they came back together for a quick thing and stuff like that. It was like, oh man, this is really cool. And even when before Seth did the whole chair thing to Roman Reigns, having Evolution back together was kind of neat for a little bit there. You know, like those things, it was like, yeah, this is really cool. And I didn't realize until they all kind of got together there how much I wanted to see that again. And to see those guys in kind of their absolute, almost peak form, teaming up together and working in tandem, going up against the new blood line. I really, really did enjoy that. And I thought it was a nice touch. And just, it was something I wasn't necessarily expecting to feel, was just how much I wanted to see those guys all together again, and how much I missed having all those guys together. And so that was, it was just, yeah, like I said, it just wasn't an expected feeling that I had. Overall, I thought the match was excellent. You obviously had the story of Roman and CM Punk not necessarily getting along and doing all of those things, and the like cutting them off super serious, like to allow Sami Zayn to get out, and then Punk doing Punk things and scooting around Roman Reigns to get into War Games, and then he doesn't pick him up and all those things, and then culminating again with CM Punk pulling Roman Reigns off of the table. I thought that whole part of it was excellent, and then as soon as that kind of happens, everything turns together, and the OGs really start to take it to the Bloodline. I had a buddy text me asking me, does this kill the momentum that the new Bloodline had? And I would say no, it doesn't. I mean, like, they lost, so there is that. But if you are a legitimate act, and if you are legitimate performers, then you should be able to handle losing once. That shouldn't be so debilitating for you. That should be a thing that you can handle. Is it like a loss shouldn't be the end of you? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. If you are, Jim Ross talks about this on his podcast all the time. If the only way you can get over is to constantly win, then you're not much a performer. And they aren't telling much of a story with you. Is there going to be a touch of rehab that is needed for these guys? Maybe. Can they do that in 2 segments on SmackDown? Yeah. They can come out there, kick the shit out of everyone, and they're back on top again. So, no, I don't think a loss here is a killer to these guys. I do think that there is, throughout this whole thing, this has felt like A team and B team. And that is something that they are going to need to get away from. And it's something I talked about a little bit as this whole thing was building up. We have talked about how insane some of these guys are and how dangerous some of these guys are. And you have some of the things like the car attacks and shit like that. But I feel like not enough has been done in ring with these guys to make them feel like they are these unbeatable, dominant destroyer guys, and you were seeing this collision course. It was just kind of like, well, this is the next step in the story, so this is how we are doing it. I feel like that is something that now needs to be the next part of this evolution. And yes, they've won the tag team titles before, and then they lost them, but I I think that this team needs to go on not just a rampage of kicking the shit out of people, but real legitimate win streaks. You know, like Jacob Fatu needs to rattle off like 18 wins in a row, assuming his leg isn't broken after the mix up on the moonsault tonight. And apparently there's some videos from Rogers Arena showing that he is pretty legitimately banged up coming out of this show. But I just feel like you need to have him get on a roll and have Tama Tonga and Tongaloa go out there and just buzz through a bunch of tag teams. And like that tag team kind of triple threat thing that is kind of setting up right now with Motor City Machine Guns and Street Profits and DIY. These guys need to go in there and just rampage the whole thing. Like just come in and like it is a WWE cruiserweight match, and these guys are coming in and just wrecking everyone. Like Brock Lesnar, when he came in first and killed all of the Hardys and Spike Dudley and stuff like that. Like they need to do that kind of a thing to get these guys back to that level that they were at before this match. And Solo needs to start winning matches and doing all of that. And I get you want to make him feel like an attraction and all of these things, but his mic work and his persona aren't enough alone to get him to where he feels like he is on par with these guys. Like this really did feel like A Team and B Team tonight, and that's something they need to get away from. I will be interested to see what the next step in all of this is. They kept focusing on what was the deal that CM Punk worked out to get into this match, and what did they kind of have to do to get Punk there, and now where does the other side go? Where does Sami Zayn just kind of break off and all of that? But it was so cool to see him do the little handshakey thing with Jimmy and all of that. Like all of it was just awesome. And so if they want to stick together for a couple months here, fill your boots, man, because I really, really enjoyed having all of those guys together. And then match quality-wise, it was a fun match. And I thought they did a lot of really, really cool things and put on a lot of really fun stuff in this particular bout.